And then in runners, you see a lot of knee pain, and you can see a little bit less back pain, but a lot of knee pain, because if you can't move at the ankle and you can't move at the hip, the only joint then that's available to move is the knee. So we end up buckling through the knee. So there are the two things I would say. You get the glutes, the lower core kind of control the pelvic position, have a tendency to kind of get weak. The foot muscles have a tendency to get weak. And then also the ankle has a tendency to really get stiff. The hip has a tendency to get stiff. So we want to get movement better through those joints, and we want to get more stable, keeping the knee in alignment and getting the core kind of stable and not moving too much through the lower back.
Do you think the best way is movement the best medicine for these kind of things? Like if I'm listening to you now and I'm trying to get the cheat notes,
yeah,
is it hip mobility work and
100%.
actually doing movements in the direction and progressing them? Same with the ankle movements. Is that the best way to do it? Whereas people, I know myself, I do follow along yoga, I do everything else, but is it this element of moving and functional movement that is going to give me the biggest progression?
Right. So there's three things why you can't move correctly. So when you're talking about movement, you're talking about mobility, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's three reasons why someone can't move correctly. The first is it's a mobility issue. So like we're designed as hunter-gatherers. So if you can't move at your ankle and your hip, you will be able to move somewhere. Like that's the way we're designed. There's no way where you're going like, oh, I can't move through my ankle and hip, guys. I'm going to correct these before I move to my knee or my back. It's like, no, you'll just move through the knee and the back. So yeah, mobility, particularly through the knee, particularly through the ankle, hip, and upper back. If you can target like YouTube those exercises, 90% of people are going to be okay. The second reason someone moves poorly, like say their knee buckles in, is that one of the muscles are not activated. So they have good mobility. You see a lot in teenagers, they have really good mobility, but the muscles aren't strong. And again, that's where we said foot muscles around the hip, the pelvic control isn't great at all. So for that, then that person needs to be working like say your glute bridges, working on, I said, we have the back aware belt where finding the middle, learning how to like engage the core to hold that steady, doing that type of work, working on the balance, keeping the knee in line. So like really burning those muscles. Like I do say it in the Pilates where people say it's like, people think I have people, oh, I got hip pain and like, or back pain. And like, my physio get me this like figure 4 stretch. And it's not work. Like I still have it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And like, you sit on your ass 10 hours a day. Like you thought a 30-second stretch was going to do what exactly? You got to get these muscles. I say in the class, we got to get these muscles burning. Like we got to get them switched on. Like it takes firing these up. And then the last reason why someone might move correctly is motor control. And that's what we were saying, the difference between traditional Pilates just being kind of more on the ground, than like getting something innervated on the ground, getting back into these positions where you're practicing the movements and just going through them, and that getting that awareness of what's a good position, what's not a good position. And if you have those three things, sometimes there's an anatomy, I'm not going to get into it, but some people are just designed in a certain way that they won't be able to like squat great, for example. But those three are modifiable and they'll fix a lot of the problems.
Most people listen to this obviously be runners. You're mentioning gym work there. How would you structure a gym session? Is there any sort of elements? Would you put a lot of like your 10, 15 minutes into like glute bridges, single leg, deadlift work, rubbing your foot with the ball? Or is there like certain elements you think you need for a good performance in the gym based off physio into the gym?